We like to call it the Supernatural Hour. And now, our hosts.
Castle,
Yes,
you took a little sabbatical.
I did take a little sabbatical, and I will pop in from time to time now for guest appearances.
Yeah, see, as the big sister, I can twist his arm and
You will come podcast.
give him a noogie.
No, so just so everyone's wondering where I've been and where I'm at and where I will be. So I had to take a break, and there's some reasons why, and I'll get into those, and we're going to do a tell-all expose right here, right now.
Ooh.
Cool.
Just to be really clear, Beaker, Tim, is still my friend. I like Tim, I like Beaker, but we did have some differences of opinions on the direction of this podcast, apps, WISPs, etc. Deanna and I actually founded WISPs back in 2012 and set it up and got it going. And then we formed apps as the kind of the commercial venture to house the podcast under. And
also the events.
And the events.
The paranormal events where
because
we charge. And
we didn't feel good doing that under WISPs because we want that to be a completely nonprofit. We didn't want to accept any money, won't accept any money for residential investigations or business investigations. But to fund that, I mean, web hosting costs money, podcasting equipment costs money, sometimes venues cost money. I mean, there has to be an income source. And initially, Deanna and I were paying for these things out of pocket. It was just kind of like, okay, I guess I'm going to eat rice this month because I need to buy this
Business
or
cards or
yeah. You know, or we were having the members be like, hey, you can be a member of WISP, but you need to pay us $20 so that we can buy your business cards and, you know, whatever else. Honestly, we thought it'd be better if the organization could support itself. And so we started the business end of apps, which is the events and things like that, now onto the Patreon. And that helps support that and support us so we can do this. The vision that Deanna and I had initially was basically just that, to support the organization. Tim had a different idea. He wanted to become a self-sustaining business with office space and to quit jobs and be able to have it be like an occupation. And honestly, in my opinion, I didn't think, and I still don't think that's really a realistic expectation. I don't think the market is big enough to support that.
as we were sitting here in the attic of despair with curtains hanging from the ceiling to
Exactly.
help soundproof the room.
Exactly. You know, and so I think the intention was good. I know there was talk of having apps do a paranormal conference, and that honestly kind of scared me to death because I'd been to several of those, and they looked like they were commercial failures. I mean, they were cool events, but honestly, for what they're paying to bring in celebrities and
it
everything
can
else.
be very, very expensive.
Right.
Oh,
and,
yeah, like $5,000 just for your booth space.
Exactly.
and at the end of the day, I mean, I saw a lot of booths come in. I saw a lot of celebrities come in, and in my mind, I'm seeing the money rack up to do that.
And
then
I'm not seeing a lot of people
coming in to
buying the tickets.
buy tickets. And honestly, if you don't have the people coming in to buy tickets, your vendors are going to be pissed off and they're not going to come back. You're going to end up having to pay for celebrities out of pocket. And so those things were kind of had me concerned. And so we had some different philosophies there. And then ultimately, you know, I was just getting remarried, decided that my focus needed to be more on my family. And then on top of that, I also have started a photography business on the side. You know, my webpage is castlenaturestudio.com, where I take landscape and wildlife photos and sell those prints, and which necessitated a lot of travel on my part because I have to drive to where animals are at because there's not that many around here compared to, say, Yellowstone or the Tetons or...
If you go up here by the golf course, there's lots of bighorn sheep.
Really?
Yep.
I didn't know there's bighorn sheep here. How many?
Oh, a whole herd of them. Come hang out at the golf course.
How about that? I just found a new spot. Anyway, so with all of that, I just didn't have the time to dedicate anymore. And with the difference of philosophies, you know, there was some tension that didn't need to be there. Like I said, Tim and I are still friends. I think Tim's an amazing guy. I know he's no longer with the podcast, and he's off doing his own thing as well. But it was just, there were some tensions there that just needed to be resolved before we weren't friends anymore, if that makes sense. So that's where I've been and what I've been up to. I still talk with Deanne and consult with Deanne quite a bit on cases, and she's asked me to come back and guest host on podcasts from time to time. So I may still pop in and say howdy.
Say how.
How? And say hi. Edit that out, Don. Edit that out. Me talk good. That's good spelled G-U-D. So yeah, so that's where I've been. What else do you want to know?
Awesome. So do you have a bucket list? We have a bucket list is one of our things nowadays.
I do have a bucket list. So
Just one thing on the bucket list. Save the others for later.
I'll put this notebook away then. If I could go and So let me bucket list like
It can be a thing, it can be a place, it can be I would love to meet this person, dead or alive. Just
if I
anything.
had my bucket list thing that I would like to go do. Can I have two? I have two.
You can
Sure.
have two.
Okay, give me
I
two.
guess you can have
Okay.
two.
I would love to investigate Waverly Manor, which I think everybody would,
Yes.
because that place is friggin' amazing. That would be my first one, and that one's actually doable. Actually, all mine are doable. And then the next one, I would love to see Ed and Lorraine's cursed object collection.
Oh, I would go with you to that one.
That would be fun.
Absolutely.
You know,
Didn't you have some spoons or something from that, or was that from?
I do have the Amityville spoons. I had the opportunity to actually talk to Loraine Warren before she died several years ago. Probably would have been the early 2000s, probably like 2005. I spoke with Loraine Warren, had a good hour-long conversation on the phone with her. Really neat lady. This is just before Ed passed away. Ed was in poor health, but I had the chance to talk with her. And I was actually getting information on how to go out and see their collection. I actually called the number not expecting from Loraine to actually answer the phone. I thought for certain I'd get an assistant or something along those lines, but Loraine answered and we had a good conversation. But I would really love to go out and see their collection.
Right.
would
Do
be
you
amazing.
follow Tony Spera, their son-in-law?
I'm familiar with Tony. I've not actually followed him.
He's doing a lot with their collection and trying to get it out there, and he's trying to do some kind of a big expo to put like Annabelle out there.
Oh,
and-
good. See, Annabelle's one I would like to see. Now, as far as Dawn is asking about, I do have some spoons from Amityville. I have those. They were given to Jimmy Chunga from the Radio Ronin podcast, directly from the Warrens. These spoons are in shadow boxes, and they are mounted on the bed sheets that the actual DeFeos were murdered on. These spoons are allegedly cursed, and bad things happen if you try and sell them or do anything other than give them away as a gift.
So you got them as a gift?
I did. And I actually store those spoons. They stay in my garage, keep them stored with selenite and salt, and I keep them in a way that basically they're not going to be a problem for me and my family. But I do have those spoons.
And do you have it marked or something? So what happens when you pass on or it gets lost so people understand what's in that shadow
Someone
box?
is totally screwed. That's what's going to happen.
Great. 'Cause
And
we
it
did
won't
one
be
on
me.
curses, and now I'm like seeing this as a future curse ending up somewhere. You know, somebody's going to buy this little cool, oh, look at these cool spoons. And
Yeah. You and I just met tonight for the first time, Rogue. But one of my things, I don't purport to be a psychic or medium or anything along those lines. I'm just not. But if I did say I had a spiritual gift, I can pick out a cursed object in a room like that, like, and snap my fingers. I can walk into a room and like look at something and go, that's a problem.
okay.
I honestly don't get much of a vibe off these spoons. I know that other people have talked about having issues with the spoons.
Yeah.
I spent quite a bit of time when I first got them cleansing them.
Okay.
You know, people are like, well, what do you mean by cleansing them? You know, letting them sit in sunlight, just all the things you do to cleanse a crystal. Use crystals that are commonly used for cleansing, aka selenite, obsidian, things like that. I've stored those around it. I just don't get the bad vibes off of those that I think are there. So I don't know if there's anything still attached to those, or if it's at bay, or if it's gone. I don't know.
So if you're new to the podcast and haven't heard, my skill is psychometry, which
Mm,
is
that
touching
was-
something and
yeah.
feeling the energy.
Have you
And I
touched it?
have actually, I haven't touched the spoons, but I've touched the box.
Okay.
And I don't get the feeling that I thought I would get, kind of like you said. There's definitely,
They definitely have a vibe.
they have a vibe. They have a very heavy feel, but I thought it would feel heavier,
Interesting.
considering what and
Huh.
where.
If you were to
they're
ask
from.
me if there's a negative spirit or even any spirit attached to those, at this point I would say definitely not.
Not.
But they've definitely been exposed to a bad environment. That's probably the best way I can describe those
You can tell
things.
that sweet little grandma didn't just make tea with them on Sunday.
Oh.
Yeah, you can tell they came
Yeah.
from somewhere bad. When I walk into a room that has like an object that's got a problem, I almost get like tunnel vision on it, and it's like my eyes just can't leave the object. I'm like, oh, that thing.
You're just really
that
drawn to it.
Kind of like
Yeah.
a rock holding a door open in Twila.
Yeah, well, like that particular investigation that
Oh.
we went 2-3 times. When we walked in, like, that rock is a problem, and
Yeah.
we took the rock, and the problem went away.
You've been listening to the Supernatural Hour at AdvancedParanormal.com. The Supernatural Hour is part of the Radio Ronin network found at RadioRonin.com. Copyright 2021 by Advanced Paranormal Services.